We're going to follow along and see how things go. So if you're tuning in, you can log into kauctions.ca and you can log in. This auction is going to be going on for the next few hours, so you won't miss out on everything. But it has begun. So let's get rolling here. Again, the auction house is Kastner Auctions at kauctions.ca. And I'm going to get the camera turned around and we can kind of see how things are going to end. So without further ado, here we go. And all right. So the first few things, pardon me while I get the camera set up here. It's an imperfect science, this live stream stuff. There is no live auctioneer. Sometimes I will go and I will be at the auction house when these things are ending. It's not the case today. I thought I'd go on for probably about a half hour or so. It's 11 a.m. right now. The auction just started and we're gonna let this go till 11:30. I can already see that some of the very first items are going for very, very fair prices. And you know, we shall see how things will end today. There's always this, you know, $2.50 for a nice vintage suitcase is a very fair price. Where are you gonna find a nice old suitcase with the travel decals on it or decals on it for that price? So you can log in right now, kauctions.ca. Look for the curiosity sale. We do these sales basically every month or 2 months or so. We'll advertise on our Facebook or we'll put a post up on our YouTube chat and let people know that this stuff's going. Oh, here's one of the Nintendo GameCubes that came out of that storage unit that I picked up. And it's currently at $80. And keeping in mind, I paid $225 for that whole unit. So getting 80 bucks back off of one thing like that is definitely kind of handy. So here we go. And I'll be trying to read messages as they go along too. Greetings from Belgium. Canned Dill says, Here's the Ryobi compact drill with accessory set, 45 bucks. Again, came out of a storage unit, so that's money back in the bank on that one. Oh, and my sister Heather is on. Hello, Sister Heather. Welcome to you. Either I wish you were here or maybe that Colorado is closer. Maybe I can convince her to move back to Montana, so it's a shorter drive. I had a shalom from Israel in West Virginia. Lot of Family Guy DVD box sets for 10 bucks. If you like Family Guy, that's pretty cheap. Oh, it looks like there's some Simpsons stuff in there too. Now, I will say that the majority of the items here are from our YouTube channel and from things that I found. There is one other consignor, I believe, which these gloves were part of. Oh, here's the Xbox 360 in the box with games. Current bid, $45. Let's see. With these timed auctions, you really don't know, is somebody on right now? Are they watching? Are they waiting to bid? Are they getting notified when they're outbid? So it's anybody's guess what something's going to sell for. Some of you might remember the 1960s Jello coins. These came in a package of Jello. So imagine all the Jello that kid ate to fill that whole thing up. That was Jello pudding every day. I feel like pudding was a bigger part of society back in the 60s through maybe early 80s. I don't know. When was the last time you had somebody like your mom or grandma or somebody make you up a box of Jello pudding? I don't know. For me, it seems like it's been a long time. So video games are going. Heather, my sister, sending big hugs to the kids and a swift kick for me. Well, I probably deserve it. That checks out. I probably have years of Heather kicks coming in my direction. And I definitely pested her when I was out in Colorado. Our brother Steve has been sending me neat things that have been up for sale in his area. And that's the thing with the collectibles business. You never really know what something's going to go for. Somebody might want the world for it, selling it locally on, you know, like an online website. But then when it comes down to what is it actually worth, you don't know. So Nintendo 64 with 6 games. And I did say untested because I didn't have the stuff to hook it up and make it work. $110. So already I can see that, you know, my money is more than back off of that unit. Same with this, the Sony PSP system with games. Video games, oddly, still very collectible. Oh, look, somebody in Colorado is bidding on it. Hello, person in Colorado. if I knew you were going to win it, I'd just bring it down. No, I don't want to bring a video game system with me when I go. In fact, Heather, as you're watching this, that giant box of stuff that I got when I was down with you and Steve just arrived like 2 days ago. It took a really long time. And it looks like it's been through Warren back, so I am not exactly sure. Ooh, this person's got quite the name. Not sure what they're going to be displaying on those stands, and I don't think I want to know. Knock twice, or at least 3 times before entering their place. Little 70s Little People Parkade with figures. That was Bob the Bottle Man's toy when he was a kid. Bought that off of his parents a few weeks ago. So there. Oh, now it's up to $30. I ended up buying a truckload, a Volkswagen van load of stuff off of Bob's parents, and that was among Bob's childhood toys. So there you go. Milk glass and collectibles. You know, you never know. There's a nice little blue jar in there. Hello from Indiana, Alex, says Durrell Brown. Hello back at you, Durrell. And Brian's Life. Nice to see a lot of regular faces joining us today. And this is kind of just like the traditional me chatting about stuff as the auctions end. A couple things about this. One, it gives you an idea what things are kind of selling for. So if you're out there buying and selling, that you're not overpaying for stuff. The other is, well, if you're curious to know what some of the things that you might have seen on an episode, what they might sell for in real life, well, this gives you a chance to see that. I think that's fat old rugby coach, not fat old drug buy coach. That's funny, the names people pick. Oh, here's an old motorcycle jacket. It's one of our pieces here. In fact, Steven used that jacket until he outgrew it. It's men's size medium, roughly. And that was his favorite coat for a while. And nice little 50s German leather motorcycle jacket. Lady sold this to me at the store. $50 is quite a steal on that for a nice vintage motorcycle jacket with good quality brown hide. But, you know, this isn't a high-end clothing vintage retail shop. This is an auction after all. So things will sell for whatever they sell for. Have never seen a timed auction like this and don't think I like it. Do you pay less commission because there's no auctioneer? No, it's the same price. This would be the same kind of concept as like eBay, I guess. The only benefit of doing a sale like this for me is that everything sells in one day and the auction house takes care of all of the shipping, the customer service, they take care of everything and I don't have to worry about it. So for me, that's a big benefit. But yeah, you definitely, I hope they go back to doing in-person auctions because it's hard to get auction fever when you don't have a crowd. Yep. Somebody said, so glad you got to meet your brother. I met my sister when I was 30. She's amazing. We share the same birthday. Are you twins? Or, hang on, you got to explain that. Raven missed. You share the same birthday. So was she just born like years apart, but on the exact same day? That's pretty insane if it was. Anyway, I'm sure there's a story there. So we have a variety of things coming up here. I'm just trying to gauge when and where. I have, you know, we have other consigners and other auctioneers. Oh, she says, no, not twins, 2 years older. Okay. But you guys have your birthday on the same exact day. Well, that's like my niece Alyssa and her dad Dorian, my brother-in-law Dorian, they share the exact same birthday as well. It's kind of neat with that when that happens. Hard to plan something like that, but that's pretty unique. Things like advertising clocks always have a bit of interest. MotoMaster is a Canadian company. That's probably some retro piece. That's not one of my items, but it's probably a retro piece that was put out, hand-carved duck. there's always a lot of variety at an auction like this. You know, if you're looking for, you know, maybe you need a duck to put on a shelf, and there you go. There's a duck for your shelf, or a duck to keep your other ducks company out in your yard. My son shares his birthday with his father after 6 days of labor. Did your husband say, just hold him in there for a while? Just cross your legs and keep the kid in there until it's my birthday. Then we can have everybody over on the same day. It's going to save all kinds of money. That's a practical sort of thing. That seems like the sort of thing my 6 days of labor, Melissa says. Yeah, I don't envy 6 days of labor. Not that I had to go through it myself, but it didn't look like Melissa enjoyed it a whole lot, even though we did that 3 times. It didn't look like it was fun any of those times. And I think she forgot. I think that pregnancy amnesia is like an actual thing, because I thought she was gonna, I felt bad, like it was watching my wife get like, you know, some horrible, it was like a murder happening and you couldn't prevent it. Yeah, and then it happened, and then instantly, you know, she's holding the baby, holding Steve, and she's like, we should have another. And I'm like, are you nuts? How are you not remembering what we just went through? I was traumatized. And Melissa's all like, no, we should have more kids. I'm like, you're crazy. Second time, same thing. She's like, why am I doing this again for? Yep. That's the thing. You just, I guess, you know, good on you, all you ladies, for having to go through that. Oh, they said it was snowing the day I went into labor. They finally broke my water on my husband's birthday. My mom said later they'd done that for all 3 of us. Interesting. Yeah, I guess if you have a C-section, you can kind of plan it, which is convenient. You can be like, I feel like having this kid on a Friday. I don't know why you'd be talking like that when you're about to have a baby. You'd probably be like, get this thing out of me. Baby chat. Good times. We're watching a few items end here. And the market's really all over the place right now. It's very hard to gauge what somebody's going to want and what's just going to sit around. The sort of things that are actually gaining in popularity would be things like video games, 1980s toys and collectibles. Jewelry is always popular. So, you know, diamonds and gold and all that, that's always a good investment. But very, very challenging to guess what somebody's going to buy. So here we have a pair of 1972 Alberta license plates that'll probably sell for $20 or $25. That's probably about right for what they're worth. Kind of a neat set, actually. The double X3366. Actually, that says XX666 if you add up the 3s. It's the devil's plate. Somebody probably would have paid more for that. The interesting thing is, with an old set of license plates like that, you can actually register your car with those here if you have collector's plates. 3 fancy antique brass door handles. Really neat, actually. If you have an antique house and you want to put appropriate style door handles on, not too many places you can get that. And that's the thing, you know, something like those license plates sold for $25, and I have a 1700s Welsh grandfather clock that should be a couple $1,000s and is only bid to $60 right now. That's the thing with an auction. If, you know, people's interests aren't into wooden furniture like that. They call it brown furniture. If you get into teak or 1950s stuff, yes, that does command a value. But for the most part, you could find a beautiful Victorian settee or a beautiful Victorian chair, and people won't pay really anything for it right now. Just people aren't putting that stuff in their houses. And so it has very little value. And that's the problem with the grandfather clock that's there right now. It's a historically significant piece. It's an interesting piece. But are people going to bid it up to what it's potentially worth? I guess we'll see. I'm not feeling confident in that one today. Cat Browns has been watching since the Disney sale. Well, thank you for watching. And that reminds me, I actually have to go out to Ontario at some point and go visit Adam. I've been meaning to go out that way and see what he's been up to. I know he's been busy working away. Make sure he's got some time off of work where we can just hang out for a little bit. Here's your James Bond style hideaway phone. Yeah, if you they used to put telephones in boxes so it would look like you had just a little fancy box sitting on your on your counter, and then when it would ring, you'd open it up. Tube testers are pretty handy, actually. If you are into repairing old radios or guitar amps, a tube tester is a pretty practical piece to have around, which is why it sold for $70. Still very usable. And $70 is still actually a very fair price. That would normally be north of $100, typically, if you saw it in an antique shop. All right. Is there any sports memorabilia in this auction? Yes, I believe there is, Glenn. There's autographed hockey sticks. There's sports cards. Somebody had put in boxes of 1970s, I believe, and 80s sports cards in here. So that, yes, there are lots of, I believe there is sports memorabilia in this auction as well. Did you see that George Jetson would have been born July 31st, 2022, had he been real? Wait, he wasn't real? My childhood is ruined. Oh, that's interesting to know. So that means what? Let's say, what do you think he was? Probably 35 or so when the Jetsons. Well, Judy Jetson was a teenager, so he must have been about my age. He was probably like in his early 40s. What do you guys think? Early to mid 40s? George Jetson in the show. I'd say I would have pegged him. Mind you, they were in the 50s and 60s when that show came out. That was probably normal to have a kid at a younger age. I'm going to say that George Jetson was 42 years old in the show. What are your guesses out there? How old do you think George Jetson was in the cartoon series? It seemed like he had that middle age, he's still working at a job. He'd been there for lots of years. He's not like he had only been there a month and thought, I'm going to walk away and go somewhere else. He'd been stuck in it for a while. Oh, this is a beautiful set. I'm surprised it's only $45. A Grinley China set, Sheraton Ivory. That's actually a very nice set of dishes. So $45 will be a very good deal for somebody, and off it went. See, there's the thing. A big set of Grinley China sold for $45, and here's a Viewmaster for $50. Oh, Melissa says, okay, it says he's 40 years old. I'm older than George Jetson? And am I older? I gotta be older than Fred Flintstone because he just started having kids. He's just got one baby. That means I'm well older than Fred Flintstone. Oh man, now I'm really feeling old. I'm older than George Jetson. Well, I guess, in 40 years from now, we should have flying bubble cars and live in pods in the sky. Now, there's a lot of things in the Jetsons that actually came true. Like the FaceTime, the screen on the wall. Except I don't know if anybody's holding up. I remember in the show that, was it Jane Jetson? Was that his wife was Jane? I think it's Jane. And Jane Jetson would hold up like a picture of her face that had the makeup and hair all done on it in front of the screen. So when people called and she wasn't ready, it would look like she was. I wonder if I guess that's almost the same as people putting filters on when they do like, when they're chatting, that when they're doing a video chat and they put filters on. I look like a cowboy that somehow has mascara on. I don't understand the filters they have or why, like when I open my mouth, the zebra is going to come out with a rainbow farting out of its butt. It's stuff people come up with for those filters. And yet you still can get lost in them on those afternoons where you get lost in internet and you're like, well, I don't know how this happened, but here we go. A lot of 1940s wooden model airplanes. That's pretty neat. Got those from the original owner, actually. I'm not seeing any chats come up here, so I'll see. Oh, Popeye would be 90 this year, somebody's saying. And Popeye was based on an actual person. Popeye was a real dude. $7.50 for these hand-painted Japanese bowls and vases. That seems pretty cheap. Somebody's going to get a deal. That'd be nice even just to put your wasabi and soy sauce in one of those things if you're doing sushi night. It seems like people are buying things that are a little bit more on the practical side. Like, look, here's a bunch of brass hooks, $35. You can use those, for hanging stuff. Purchase those off an old hooker. I mean, for somebody who sold hooks. Is that not what you call them? My goodness. 10 porcelain and pewter eggs on stands. Kind of interesting. $40 bid right there. We've had quite a variety of stuff come through. Sometimes it does drive me a little crazy though when you bring. I brought this large box of assorted 50s and 60s models in there, and they didn't even take them out of the box to take a picture. Like, that just feels, I hate to say it, but it feels lazy when the photographer does that. You know, they could have just laid them out even. There's probably like 30 or 40 or more cars in there. Oh, I remember when I bought these photos, the lady's like, what do you want these old pictures for? I'm like, people scrapbook and do stuff with them, and trust me, somebody's gonna want them. See, look, you can't even see what's in there. What's in there? It's a big giant box of toys. I wish they would have taken that out of the box and displayed them. I'll have to give some feedback to Ye Old Auction Hut. Although it seems I've given feedback before and it doesn't, sometimes it doesn't help. But on the other hand, these guys are doing probably like 5 or 6 auctions a week. They have 1 or 2 photographers doing this stuff. So those people are probably just go. Like, it's just a machine of stuff that they want out. Maybe there's an allure though. It is getting bid up. You know, it's at $45 now, $50. How many say we're going to be on 40 now? 50, 50, 50, 50. Let's have $60. Who would have been $60? $60 last call. 4 seconds remaining. Who's got a $50? $60. Need $60. Blah, 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 blah. I'm pretty sure this is, don't go blah, 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 blah. That's like the lazy auctioneers. They put their finger in between their lips and they go, $10. That's what it sounds like most of the time. Should do that with like one of those, with a juice harp and 25, 20, we're going to be on 25. I get to sit here and entertain myself all day. This is the problem. Oh my goodness. Yeah, you think they'd realize make more money if they have better pictures. Yep. You guys try it next time. You want to sound like an auctioneer, put your fingers between your lips and start counting out numbers. $50. I like how they drop their voice sometimes too. How many is someone at $5? $7.50. How many is someone going to be a vintage pilot's uniform with pants? Not much of a pilot's uniform without pants. Mind you, maybe it's like newscasters. You can't really see them from the waist down. So you're like, oh, there's a pilot in the cockpit there. I had a joke come to mind. Maybe that's where the name for the pilot house comes from, because they're not wearing their pants in there. I don't. Oh my goodness. What is with me today? I promise you I'm not drinking beer or anything. I'm having San Pellegrino, which is non-alcoholic. But I guess I'm in a goofy mood today. Yeah. Ask the 8-Ball. Well, yeah. I'm sorry. Hey, you know what, guys? This is what's happening today. Walter Hagen golf clubs with bag. Needs a little dusting. I'm not too proud to show up on the golf course with an old set of clubs. I don't know how to golf. Having a nice set of golf clubs would be the least of my problems. Oh yeah, this is, was this from Williams-Sonoma? I can't remember where it was. It was a really expensive store, and they were shutting down here, and it was $135 new. I think the tag is still on it. It's massive. It's like, I don't know, 2 feet across, and I was going to make a project out of these things. I had big plans for making a lamp out of some kind of thing, you know, like if you find like a big old military shell or something. I was like, sometimes you need a big lampshade for a big project. Never happened though. Never got around to it. Hello from Greece. Opa! But I'm not going to smash my plate. Maybe that's a stereotype. Maybe I shouldn't say that. Maybe Greek people don't yell opa and smash plates. But then again, I've been to a Greek restaurant where they did yell opa and smash plates, and considering I have very little interaction with Greek people, I need more exposure to know that there's not as much plate smashing and opa yelling as what my brain thinks there is. Fun fact, my other brother, who I haven't talked to in a number of years, is half Greek. They definitely do that, Null says. Yeah, but I want to hear the person who's from Greece tell me of Greek people in Greece. smash plates. I would think that that would be a real problem. Like, I guess it'd be good to get into the plate business because you'd always have customers. We should get into a habit of just smashing things here in Canada and yelling stuff. I don't know what we would smash though. Just go up and throw a rock at somebody's window and yell, "Hey, you hoser!" Like, ah, and then you just look out the window, oh, you got me. And then I'd get into the window business. That's what I'd do. I'd be like, this is a new thing. People run around smashing people's windows at their houses, yelling hoser. So somebody says smash poutine. That would just be a mushy mess, I think. Poutine is the most appropriate name for that food, by the way, don't you think? It is French fries covered in cheese curds, smothered is the right word, with hot gravy until the cheese melts. And it's called poutine. And I can't think of something that describes the sound it makes as it works its way through your digestive system better. But it is delicious. Crystalline says, it looks horrid. Nah, it's pretty good. I will say that if you like gravy, if you like cheese and you like potatoes, if you like French fries, you're probably going to like that. My sister said in Colorado, there's like boutique kind of French fry places opening up that are selling poutine there, and it's becoming like a thing. But you can't, listen, people are getting too carried away with the poutine. I have to protest this a little bit. People are getting carried away with the poutine. They've got butter chicken poutine. They've got eggplant poutine. That's not poutine. Poutine is just, it's got to be cheese curds, which looks like mozzarella-y kind of. It's cheese curds with like a brown gravy on top of French fries. That's it. So, yeah. Well, the fries and gravy is a thing. So just add cheese to that. You know what we're talking about. Bulova wristwatch, man's wristwatch with original box. $50 the current bid on a nice classic men's wristwatch. $50 a bid. That came out of that box, that $1,000 box of watches that I got. I'm still selling stuff out of there. Here's a G.I. Joe. We have a really nice G.I. Joe that's going through the auction. That was sort of like a project or partsy G.I. Joe, but his head is probably worth $15 because it's the early Scarface head. So anyway, there you go. Case full of red lines. Well, if it wasn't my own thing, I'd be very interested in bidding on that myself, because that's a Redline Hot Wheel case full of Redline Hot Wheels. So there's definitely some value there. A smart person is bidding on that right now, because each one of those cars is worth between $10 and $20 each. So you do the math there, that there's probably like $130 worth of cars currently selling for $60. Oh, I should go back to reading the comments too. I'm watching the screen as stuff is ending. $70. Melissa says it just looks like a lump of mozzarella. No, they're like little curd balls. I don't know, like jumbo cottage cheese without the milk. Do you guys eat cottage cheese where you are? That's not just a Canadian thing, I don't think. We do cottage cheese here. I can't remember which of my kids hate. I think all of my kids like it. Abigail loves cottage cheese, but sometimes we have friends that come over and we use it as like a side dish. Like if you're having like a turkey dinner, let's say, you'd have turkey, mashed potatoes, stuffing, maybe some pickled beets and cottage cheese and stuff. That'd be like a traditional kind of meal. Cottage cheese with green onions sliced into it. I'm not a big fan of green onions. Heather says cottage cheese is yummy with only 2 exclamation marks. So does that mean you like it, but it's not like, oh my God, I would murder for cottage cheese? Well, you should like it, but not that much. You could maim for cottage cheese. I was happy to sell Alexander, my husband, collection Hot Wheels. Great to do business. Oh yeah, incidentally, if you are watching this program, I should try and sound more like a 1950s announcer. If you're watching today's program and you have items that you'd like to sell, you can reach out to us at curiosityedmonton@gmail.com. Once again, that email address is curiosityedmonton@gmail.com. What sort of things are we buying? Well, let me tell you what we're buying. Vintage Hot Wheels, old toys of any manner, old wristwatches. Why, if it ticks, we'll be interested. Unless it's ticks, then we won't want them, and you should keep them at your house and get your house cleaned. But we're always buying things, so give us a try. curiosityedmonton@gmail.com. Ba-da-dum, ba-da-bum, womp. There, I did my own sponsored ad. I don't think I would have paid for that ad though. It's gonna be terrible. And people actually do contact me sometimes to do sponsored commercials. I'm thinking, really? Okay. All right, I can do something. It's gonna be a little hokey. I had to do the one for Manscaped. That was the most, I was like a little bit embarrassed doing that. It's not like I had to show anything, but I mean, you know, it's a gentleman's grooming product and they wanted me to do a commercial for them. So I'm like, oh, okay. How do you approach that topic and make it so that you get the point across about the product and not be completely hokey about it? So yeah, we did that. And then they're like, oh yeah, you didn't read the fine print. You got to mention us like 10 more times for this whole month. I'm like, oh no. I was like so embarrassed talking about it the first time. But anyway, we did a little video and they were happy. Apparently the sponsors really liked our commercial and I did it like a 50s kind of like, anyway, it went well. Let's see, we've got Blue Mountain Pottery coming up, a naval hat. Oh, this naval cap is really cool that's coming up. It has the original tin, the original tin for it's got the guy's name. And somebody told me, oops, oh no, there, I went out of it for a second. Somebody told me that it says their name on it, which is Colville, but they didn't actually say what ship it was on it for security reasons. It only went for 30 bucks. All that talking about it only went for 30 bucks. I probably gave them like 60 for it. So there you go. Sometimes you accidentally buy things for more than what they'll sell for. I thought for sure that thing would have been, like in an antique store, you'd probably put like 90 bucks or something on it. So I thought, okay, maybe it's a little money. Lucy says, your brother Steve seemed really nice, Alex. Heather's a keeper too. I'm glad you found siblings and ones you get along with. Me too. Yeah, it makes it a lot easier. And they came into my life at the exact perfect time. So I'm glad to have siblings that I can spend time with. We have a couple pieces coming up very soon here that actually came out of Madame Rack's house. They are 1950s knit sweaters, but if you look at this one, look, it's music notes. Madame Rack made herself a knit sweater with bars of music on it and music notes. Isn't that just the coolest thing? Anyway, if you remember that story about Madame Rack and the house that was full of jewelry and she was a music teacher, we actually found this in, we found that in our closet. I forgot that I'd kept these two back. And then she also had one with birds on it, which is a little bit more traditional. These would wear like a size medium, like probably like a size medium or a larger lady size, or like a men's small or a men's medium. Anyway, they're wearable. They're a good wearable size. Oh, there we go. There's one of Madame Rack's sweaters right there. 1950s knit sweater jacket. And these are really in right now. Like these old style sweaters are back in fashion. In fact, you see replicas being sold at stores. So yeah, and this is the one I thought would go for more because it's actually got the music notes on it. Anyway, $35 the bid on that one. And you know, you think about the time and effort it probably took to make that. Each bar of music and each note, like that's a lot of effort. There is some jewelry going up for sale in this auction. And you will find said jewelry if you scroll down. We haven't gotten to it quite yet. But there is a whole pile of jewelry in this sale. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, you can log into kauctions.ca and you will be able to find the jewelry there. Here's some Thomas Kincaid collector buildings. They are a little, I believe they light up as well. Anyway, they're really neat. If you're doing like a Christmas village or something like that, it's kind of a fun thing. Mind you, that's more of a summer cottage scene. But it doesn't always snow. You know, there's parts of the world where it doesn't snow. Maybe that's just like a nice sort of coastal English. I don't think that'd be Christmas. It's not raining. It's not raining in England. Madame Rack's house was the best. I hope you'll be able to find another house full of stuff and share it with us. Kauctions.ca, you're going to look for the antique curiosity sale. That sale, curiosity sale, and it's live right now. Melissa just put the link up. It's live and it's on right now until I think the next few hours or so. But if you're watching this after the fact, it gives you an idea of what some things are selling for. I went to a lady's house and they had these Thomas Kincaid buildings, and she was trying to get $100 a building because she said, well, they were collectible when she bought them in the 1980s. They were like $40 each, so surely they must have gone up. Not the case. Not always the case. So with that, guys, it's been about 35 minutes here. And I'm going to answer a few questions, then I'm going to log out because I'm going to take my family to the farmer's market today. Freedom for All says, if you found a bunker on your property, what would you do with it? Oh man, I don't, there's a strong likelihood that somewhere in our yard there might be a tunnel system or a bunker. Judging by the other sorts of things that we found, and there is a shaft entrance that has been filled in with gravel. The challenge is I'd probably have to get the ground penetrating radar out here to scan the property. I don't know what that costs to do, but I would probably have to do that because I don't want to start digging just to find out that, yeah, there was something here, but it's completely filled in with gravel, and you excavate the whole thing and then your yard falls in and you've ruined your backyard. So right now, the ground is stable. Everything's good. I don't know how motivated I'm going to feel to start digging up parts of my yard. But I feel like there's going to be some surprises down in the back of my forest area. If you watch the other episode I put out, I think it was yesterday. I put out an episode yesterday where I found a staircase hidden in my forest. And there was no record of a home or a building ever being there, but there's definitely signs that some kind of structure was there. And I was cleaning up the brush in the back, completely overgrown. You have to imagine like 3 foot tall weeds, 3-4 foot tall weeds. And I decided, okay, I'm going to mow these over optimistically with my ride-on lawnmower, and it actually worked. And when I cleared the ground, I started kind of driving down what felt like a path. And I drove the mower down there and I backed it back out. When it came out, I found that there was a staircase. And I've cleared off the staircase. So now we have stairs that go through a rose garden on either side. There's wild roses back there, but they might have been placed back there. It's hard to say, but the roses are on either side of that path. And it goes down towards the creek. So I contacted Hans and Zenobia, which you might have seen in the video, to come and help me out with doing some clearing down by the creek. So we can make a nice little space where we can actually walk down there and kind of take in the scenery. And I don't know when they're going to be able to get to it, hopefully before snow flies, because it would be nice to see what's down there. But I think we're going to find some more surprises down there and find out where those stairs go to. So stay tuned for more as we excavate the backyard a bit and see if there's other stuff buried down there. Maybe it led to a fire pit. That would be nice if all we had to do was kind of dig it back out and it's still there, like a nice little stone fire pit. But yeah, it should be really, really neat. This is that grandfather clock that's actually worth a lot of money that was bid super low earlier today. $100 is nothing for a 1700s grandfather clock, let me tell you. These typically would sell for over 2,000 British pounds. If you go on websites that deal in these early Welsh clocks, they're quite rare, and it is a very historic piece. Like, it's actually cut from solid pieces of wood. It's not veneered. And there it went, $120. So how about that? A 1700s Welsh grandfather clock sold for as much as an untested Nintendo 64 with a few games. That's where our society is at right now. And that's what makes it also difficult to try and gauge what you should pay for antiques, because although it says it's worth some money online, it doesn't mean you're going to get that money at the end of the day. So on that note, guys, we're going to let things sell. We're going to let things roll. If you want a really great bargain, log into the auction site today, and perhaps you'll be able to take something home from our show. I wish you guys all well. I hope you have a wonderful afternoon, and stay tuned for more episodes. As for us, we're off to the farmer's market. We'll see y'all soon. Oh, hey, I guess I should turn this around and say this. I should probably just be like a little bit more congenial here. And hello. So thanks again for watching, guys, today. I'm going to go off and take the kids to the farmer's market, and I'm hoping that I'll still be able to find like a giant, like a Santa Claus sack size of garden peas. That'd be great if there's any that were still in season that might be there. So anyway, there we go. So have a wonderful day, guys. We'll see y'all soon, and bye for now. Bye, guys.